Vatnajökull National Park in Iceland is the largest national park in Europe, a sprawling expanse of wilderness, glacial ice, and volcanoes. Encompassing the glacier of the same name, Vatnajökull, the protected area takes in all the surrounding landscapes that have been molded over millennia through the interaction between fire and ice. The diverse landscapes on display here are staggering, ranging from snow-capped peaks to lush green valleys to tranquil highland lakes and barren volcanic desert. The park's unique geology is a testament to Iceland's volcanic activity and glacial history. The glacier Vatnajökull itself is the most striking feature, a behemoth ice cap with numerous outlet glaciers extending like fingers into the surrounding lowlands. That ice is contrasted by areas of geothermal power, huge swaths of barren desert and glacial outwash, pockets of verdant forest, valleys and lagoons, and some of Iceland's most powerful and violent volcanic landscapes. It's the natural attractions that are the stars of the show here. Simply visiting the different areas and exploring is the easiest way to appreciate the volcanic powers that have shaped this region. From the classic stops like Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon and Dettifoss Waterfall to the most remote and hard-to-access regions of the park in the highlands, Vatnajökull National Park is a catch-all destination for those looking to understand and appreciate the grand scale of nature in Iceland. Why visit? There's nowhere else in Iceland that gives you such a sense of the powers at play under the surface of this country as Vatnajökull National Park does. The sheer scale of this park immediately sets it apart, let alone the incredible natural attractions you can see within it. As such, it's rightfully a haven for outdoor enthusiasts and those seeking a bit of adventure. By far and away, the best way to experience the park is on 2 feet. You'll quickly leave the crowds behind and will get up close and personal to a pristine wilderness. Whether it's exploring the trails in one of the easier-to-access locations of the park, or an extended multi-day trek through barren volcanic desert to the fringes of the glacier in the remote highlands, any and all hikers who visit Iceland should absolutely make a beeline for this famous national park. Where is Vatnajökull? Vatnajökull National Park spans several regions of Iceland, including the southeast, the east, the north, and several areas of the highlands. Its territories cover the glacier Vatnajökull, the largest ice cap in Europe, and the fascinating landscapes on all sides that have been created through an age of volcanic eruptions and glacial floods. Depending on which parts of the national park you're interested in, you'll need to access them from different locations around the country. From Reykjavik, the fastest way to get to the national park is to shoot along the ring road through the south coast. Kirkjubajarklaustur is a small village between Vik and the glacier and acts as an entry point into the remote southwest corner of the park located in the highlands. Further to the east of here is Skaftafell, a bowl-shaped area located between glacier tongues coming down from Vatnajökull. This is the easiest entry point, as from the visitor center there are fantastic hiking paths. Follow the ring road further into the southeast corner, and you'll also find the Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon and Diamond Beach, 2 of the park's most famous attractions. From here, things get more remote. The huge swathe of eastern highlands that makes up Vatnajökull National Park is mostly wilderness, only accessible in summer via 4x4. The same can be said of the area north of the glacier, subarctic desert, and some violent volcanic landscapes. Further north still, and not sharing any borders with the rest of the national park, is the Jökulsárgljúfur area, containing the waterfall Dettifoss and Asbyrgi Canyon. Best time to visit. Due to the sheer size of the national park, I'm going to split up my recommendations, one for the lowland areas and one for the highland areas. When to visit the lowland areas of the park? If you're planning on visiting Skaftafell, Jökulsárlón, and Heineberg for sightseeing, the best time to visit is late May and early June. These locations are all in the southeast corner, where the glacier edges close to Iceland's coast. This brief window of spring before turning to summer brings with it huge amounts of daylight, awesome golden hour sunsets, and shoulder season prices and crowds. Note that if you're set on doing a kayaking tour in either Jökulsárlón or Heinebergslón, they only begin in the second half of June. For Jökulsárgljúfur Canyon in the north of Iceland, the best time to visit is in late June. The higher latitude means that there is often still snow on the road to Dettifoss even in June, and it is often closed due to the remote area of the road. Summer. In these lowland areas is, like most other places in Iceland, the busiest time to visit. There are crowds at Skaftafell and Jökulsárlón, although most are yet to discover the Heineberg area, and hotel costs are high. Still, the weather is at its mildest, and in Skaftafell, you can also escape the crowds by venturing further into the area on the hiking trails, not just to Svartafoss and back. Autumn. Autumn is a beautiful season to visit too, with the changing colors in Skaftafell plus the moody skies over the glacier. However, there's a big increase in rainfall in late September and October. There's a chance to see the northern lights, lower prices, and come October, tours into the ice caves begin, which might be reason enough to brave the rainy season. Winter? Winter provides a different kind of experience in the lowlands of Vatnajökull National Park. The snowy landscapes are beautiful, but you'll have limited access in Skaftafell, with trails closed due to icy conditions. Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon is also more still, with the icebergs jammed together rather than freely flowing out to sea. It's likely that Jökulsárlón is completely shut off due to snow. When to visit the highlands of the park? The best time to visit the highland regions of Vatnajökull National Park is in late June and early July. The median date for most F-road openings falls sometime in mid to late June, meaning if you plan your trip to begin at the end of June, you'll get a low chance of rainfall, open roads, and no crowds. July is also a good time to visit, with even calmer weather and all roads open. Still, crowds increase at all locations, and it can be hard to find yourself alone in nature. Prices are also high, and accommodation for July often books out a few months in advance. August is when most of Europe is on holiday and Iceland is packed, even the remote areas of the highlands. As it moves towards the end of the month, temperatures begin to drop, and the evenings quickly draw in closer, skies threatening more rain. September is a continuation of August, but with far fewer people as everybody returns to work. Chances of rainfall are higher as the month moves on, which might make rivers impassable. But of course, there's always a chance that this month is mild, sunny, and calm. How long to spend in the park? The average visitor to Iceland usually spends 2 to 3 days dipping in and out of the national park, mostly sticking to the main accessible areas. This allows for exploring in Skaftafell and a glacier hike on Vatnajökull, admiring the glacier lagoon and other glacier tongues in the southeast, and then driving the length of the Jökulsárlón Canyon in the north, although that's another couple of days drive away from the southeast corner. If you have limited time in Iceland and just want to stick to this 2 to 3 day plan, here's what I'd suggest. A 3-day highlights itinerary. Day 1. Spend your first day visiting the Skaftafell area of the national park. Here, you can hike to the stunning Svartafoss waterfall and then continue deeper into the region, turning up views of the glacier and glacier tongues creeping down through the mountains. Day 2. Start with a glacier hike, which will take most of the morning. Then, hike more at Vatnajökull Canyon before heading along the southeast ring road where you'll find the famous Glacier Lagoon and Diamond Beach. Spend the night in Hofen. Day 3, after traveling up to the northern region of Iceland about 1 day from Hofen, spend a 3rd day exploring the national park at Jökulsárlón. This canyon is home to Dettifoss and Asbyrgi Canyon, 2 big hitting attractions. Logistics of visiting Vatnajökull National Park. Vatnajökull National Park is open year-round and 24 hours a day. What you need to consider, though, is that there are certain areas that have seasonal accessibility. This is Iceland after all, and weather conditions are poor in winter. This does mean that some areas can be closed because of impassable roads or poor weather. The parts of Vatnajökull National Park in the highlands are only accessible when the mountain roads are clear of snow after the spring. Different roads open at different dates throughout June and July. Park entrance points and visitor centers. The park now has a handful of visitor centers spread across the region, each covering specific areas of the park. The Skaftarstofa Visitor Center, Kirkjubæjarklaustur. Entry and parking fees. Entry to the park is generally free, but there are certain locations where you must pay for parking. For instance, at Skaftafell and the Glacier Lagoon, there are parking fees. Elsewhere, parking is free. Other than that, you will also need to pay for a tour if you're planning on doing any activities on Vatnajökull Glacier. Guided hikes, ice cave tours, ice climbing, and snowmobiling all require a licensed guide.